They say insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results. Last time he was in office, he did the same things, the same overreach, the same failure to follow basic procedures. Even Here's the truth about what happened this week when Donald Trump issued a series of bombastic executive orders that seemingly attacked marginalized communities, federal workers, science, immigrants, migrants, people of color, DI, is that this is part of Donald Trump's and the Project 2025 Russell Votes and those guys attempt to just come in with a blazing fire. It was all by design. And a lot of people are not aware that all the things, almost every single thing that they did this week, they did last time. It's just they spread it up over the course of the first few weeks of his presidency. And people just weren't paying attention. I dedicated this channel when I pivoted to telling people, if you go back to I'll put a link here to my early videos before the election, trying to warn people of all the things that Donald Trump did last term and why we should not vote for him again. Obviously, it did not work. But because I did that research, I was following along from Obama administration, throughout the Trump administration, through the Biden administration, less so because I felt at ease and calm during the Biden administration. I felt like I could sleep. I can't during the Trump administration because he thrives on chaos. And this is all part of his thing, is to be chaotic. And he knows that the media, for the most part, just accept and swallow. They're so quick to try to be the first to report. They don't do the proper fact checking and look beyond and do some nuance and get some experts to really do some deeper dives into things that he's doing. What am I talking about? Let me just reel back a little bit. Last time, just like this time, Donald Trump removed us from the World Health Organization. He removed us from the Paris Climate Accord. He had a hiring freeze. He fired all the DEI workers back then as well. He also did raids on factories, like he's doing raids now. It's just not as quickly as he did last time. And all of the things, for the most part, the unraveling of Joe Biden via executive orders legacy, he did that to Barack Obama, removing Joe Biden's White House websites, and he's going to replace them with his own later on. So everything we're seeing, because it's coming so fast, people feel like it's out of control. And added to that, they are worried because they say the House of Representatives and the Senate, both Republican. Oh my God. They also see that the Supreme Court of the United States gave him presidential immunity. They voted in his favor when it came to affirmative action, when it came to Roe v. Wade. So he has the Supreme Court in his pocket, and they're feeling really defeatist. And that's by design. All of this is coming by design, and that's why people feel like dejected, stressed out. They tapped out, and they just feel like disempowered. I am going to be a voice of reason. I was trying to figure out what would be my role on social media other than being a black woman who's adding a perspective that you're not going to see from the traditional liberal left-leaning channels on YouTube or other places talking about these things, because I'm always going to have the perspective from my cultural background and my lens. So what can I do beyond that, which I'm going to do? But I also feel like I can be the voice of common reason, having a legal background, having some understanding of, and having studied Trump the first time. I kind of know the playbook. I know where we've been before. I know that in addition to there being an army of organizations, associations, unions that have had lawsuits teed up, ready to go, so the minute Donald Trump's get inaugurated, he was hit with over a dozen lawsuits. Why? Because he's predictable. He does the same thing. They say insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results. Last time he was in office, he did the same things, the same overreach, the same failure to follow basic procedures. Even recently, when he fired about 20 or so inspector generals, he didn't follow the simple procedure of giving Congress 30 days notice. He drew the ire of Grassley. He's like, you can't do that. You can't overstep the boundaries. He does not care about process and procedures. He just acts and worries about it later, because he knows the act of just acting is going to draw the media attention, and they're going to report it. So no one's going to follow up and say, oh, okay, he fired them, but he didn't follow proper procedures, so he has to give them back their job. And then when they re-step, they actually get rehired. No one follows up that. He fired a bunch of VA workers last time, low-level VA workers, for whatever reason. No one follows up to the fact that eventually those VA workers got their job back. We taxpayers had to pay them back. So while they were unemployed, our tax dollars paid them back for the time that Donald Trump fired them without proper authorization, without proper authority. He didn't have the authority. He got sued and he lost, and we paid them back. So that is what we have. We just have him doing a lot of things without authority that's going to cost us. So rather than focus on, oh my God, he's doing all these crazy things that he doesn't have authority to do, we're going to be paying for this nonsense. People are like, oh my God, he's doing all these things. That's the world's coming to the end. He can get all these things done because he has Congress, he has White House in his pocket, he has the Congress, he has the Supreme Court in his pocket. Oh no. And people are just feeling like really defeatist. And I'm just like, calm down. So yeah, he wants to create stress and anxiety. I'm going to do my next video after this one, Russell Vogt, who's Donald Trump's Office of Management and Budget. He is the co-director, co-founder, co-author of Project 2025. His think tank is crazy. Wait till my next video. But for the most part, he has said on during a speech that his job is to create anxiety. He wants to vilify federal employees, so people hate federal employees. And so when he does the things they do, when he's ready to strip them of their power, strip them of funding, it'd be okay. It'd be less resistance because he would have created an environment where people hate federal employees. Like that's what they set up. That's by design. Donald Trump infamously, I'm not going to cite this. I'm not putting any citations, so you can go look all this up because I just don't have the time. Donald Trump infamously, reportedly told Leslie Stahl, my job is to make people hate you. My job is to create so much angst, anxiety, stress, distrust, mistrust of the mainstream media and journalists like you. So when you report the facts, when you report the truth, they're less likely to believe it because I've tainted you so much. Like that's by design. That is out of the autocratic dictator, the playbook of fascism, that he said that on the record because that's what they do. That's how he got into office. He were able to convince lots of people that your problems are the reason for your problems, the reason why you can't afford your food, why you can't afford housing, the reason why you can't afford to live is because the immigrants, the government's giving the immigrants your money, your benefits. You know, you have these DEI people that are taking your jobs. They're giving these unqualified people of color your jobs that deserve to you, and they're discriminating against white people. So I'm going to get rid of DEI. He also told the same people that, you know, not just the immigrants of DEI, these trans people, I don't know that's what that has to do with you, but these trans people, they're part of a cultural thing that if you give trans rights, trans people are less than 1% of the population, but if you get trans people rights, next thing you know, they're taking over and they're changing our children and they're brainwashed. All this nonsense he said, you know, to convince people that he says, I'm going to bring down your price of eggs. I'm going to keep you out of war. We already know before he went into power, when he was interviewed in December, he says, oh, I have no idea how to bring down prices. I'm not quite sure I'm going to do that. Then he amplified his bombastic rhetoric regarding war when he's, you know, in reference to Greenland, in reference to Panama, saying Canada's going to be the 51st state, changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, all sorts of these like crazy things, but they're like, you know, he knows they're going to report on it, and it's like aggressive, and it's by design, but it's like someone who's a peace person. Why are you talking in terms of attacking another sovereign nation or taking away property that doesn't belong to you, that's not for sale? Like what that language, that rhetoric, don't you think that's kind of hostile for the peace president? Isn't that an issue for the peace president to do that? And then also for Elon Musk and all those folks talking about First Amendment, the freedom of speech, because they stifled our conservative speech. Donald Trump recently went on talking about CNN needs to be blocked. He doesn't want speech that's against him. He's never liked speech against him. He's never been for First Amendment. So every single thing that the reason why Donald Trump has told people your problems are these other people, they're not. He can't fix it. Now that he's in office, he has his oligarchy billionaire class, just like last time. They just want tax cuts and deregulation. Last time, Donald Trump gave them massive tax cuts, didn't give tax cuts to the middle class. We're still feeling it. He gave them tax cuts. He's planning to give them tax cuts again, and he's planning to deregulate the industry and make it easier for them to run their business without worrying about government oversight, without worrying about making sure the prices, their services, the environment's not polluted, all those things. The food is safe, all those things. He doesn't want them to worry about them. He wants them to conduct business as usual without worrying about the proper like safeguards that we have in place. That is Donald Trump. That's what he convinced poor people to blame the other poor people and immigrants and migrants and people of color for their problems just so they can vote for him. He said, and I'm not going to post it here again, but he said, I don't care about you. I just want your votes. Now that he got their votes, he's going to do whatever. So this week was just part of that. He planned to do all these things. So by releasing these things really, really fast, he gives his MAGA base like the red meat appetite to say, yeah, stuff's getting done. Even though we all know that the side effects of that, is that some of his MAGA actually are like not getting job offers, like the hiring freeze and stopping some of them from getting jobs. And they're actually deporting some of the MAGA supporters, and they're seeing like the impact of the prescription drug prices rollback is going to impact them. So yeah, that's that. There's that as well. But in terms of the red meat fodder this week is kind of like, yeah. But then we who follow it know that you lost 93% of the time. We challenged a lot of those last time. You went beyond the scope of your bounds. The Supreme Court has batted you down when you try to do things unconstitutional in the past. Recently, though he's did all of those crazy things, even though they did give him affirmative action rollback and Roe v. Wade rollback and presidential immunity, they've already indicated and shown in no ways that they actually will roll him back. They will actually put him in check. They will actually stop him. Like they said, January 5th, the hush money case sentence, you're going to be sentenced. He asked them to overrule and support him on the TikTok ban. They were like, no, we're not supporting you. He asked them to stop the Democrats from seeing his tax returns. Supreme Court said no. He asked them to appeal several things. He'd asked to appeal Supreme Court recently. They said no. So after giving him immunity, they've repeatedly said no to Donald Trump. We know that the House majority and the Senate majority is so slim that Pete Hegseth skated into confirmation by one vote, the tie-break vote by J.D. Vance. It only took like Joni Ernst, who was a sexual assault survivor, to realize, okay, I shouldn't vote for this guy, but whatever. It only took one other Republican to actually stall that. In the House Representative, I said this before, there's a representative of Florida, Paulina Luna, who wanted the Speaker Johnson to to advance a bill for her, which will allow members to vote remotely. And Speaker Johnson was like, no. So she just went across the aisle and talked to Hakeem Jeffries and sided with the Democrats. But that's how fragile the majority is, that it doesn't take one person to just jump ship. And similarly, it's only one special election. If someone leaves, one of these special elections flip, Democrats will have the House for majority again. So and also the Congress have gone against Donald Trump. They said Speaker Johnson said he's going to uphold the ban. Senator Mitch McConnell voted against Donald Trump's pick for defense secretary. So there's lots of indications that the senators, the House of Representative people, will go against Donald Trump's agenda. It's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to just greenlight all his stuff. They're not. He's really abrasive and aggressive, and that's why I want you to see this email that I have coming forward, because it shows lack of regard and disregard for the authority of Congress, and they should not be greenlighting him. And so more of you guys tell them that and say stand up and have some balls. Hopefully more of them will buck against Donald Trump. And yeah, so that's what we have here. I hope that was helpful for you, give you some more context. I'm vowing to be the voice of reason for you and for everyone. So follow along, check out this playlist next, and check out my next video about Russell Val, because that's a good one. You want to see that, and I need you to take more action on that. Okay, JJ got spread the word, share this video, follow this account if you're not already following. Yeah, so I got you. Don't worry. Be peaceful. We got this. Check out outlasting47.com, which is my tracker, my companion document here, where you can support me. And it has a tracker, it has a bingo card. I'm going to update it regularly, and you pay once and then you get it. But that's a great way to support my work. All right, thanks. Check out this playlist.